welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. So what's in store for you here tonight? Folks, we only have a couple of episodes left here in season 2 of Mayfair Witches, and tonight we are looking at episode 6, Michaelmas. So strap in, folks, let's jump right on into things. Things have been heating up here in this world. We know we left off with Rowan, Lark, Moira, and Cortland figuring out that they were going to need to make a trip to Scotland because they found out that Cortland has a brother that he hadn't thought about in a long time named Ian, who turns out is behind the kidnapping of Lasher, as Ian's family wants Lasher for their own powerful gain, just in the same way that the Mayfairs were looking to use Lasher for their own gain as well too. Remember, Rowan went inside of Julian's Victrola and had a conversation with him. Meanwhile, Moira and Cortland were running a spell to help Cortland remember parts from his childhood that would help them unveil the mystery behind why everybody wants Lasher right now, and specifically, who Albrecht might have taken Lasher to ultimately. Now, as our group of 4 makes their way over to Scotland, they start to realize that all of their moves are being encumbered somehow. They can't exactly put their finger exactly on why it feels this way, but at the very least, they can definitely tell that somebody is stepping on their pathway right now. And this is causing a lot of issues as they slowly begin to get separated once they arrive in Scotland. They catch a flat tire with their car. They end up in a nearby town that's celebrating this holiday of Michaelmas, which is basically in honor of the great power returning. And they start to realize that so many things are amiss, whether it's their hotel reservation, unable to rent another car or find another way out of where they currently are. And then on top of that, Moira ends up going missing as well. So something is definitely interfering with these 4 and their ability to get a handle on their situation at hand and actually gather some clues. And obviously, this is Ian and Ian's followers setting up obstacles here for Rowan, because again, even though we haven't seen it thus far that these 2 different clans, family, tribes, whatever you want to call them, have been at war, that's the idea here. It's kind of like the Hatfields and the McCoys, right? That we have these 2 separate brothers and their families vying for the power of this powerful being Lasher. And it could just take a good conversation really to settle all this up, but that would be far, far too simple. And again, as Moira ends up going missing, Rowan, Lark, and Cortland are brought to Ian's home, who Ian presents himself as very welcoming and happy to see his brother again and his extended family. But we can all tell, obviously, none of this is genuine at all. You know, in the previous episode, Ian did end up killing off Albrecht. And even though Albrecht is an asshole and absolutely got his just due for all of his actions that have occurred in the first season and leading up to what's happened in the second season so far, that doesn't change the fact that it points Ian out to be just this horrific person who very likely should not have control of Lasher at all, because we know, at least over on the Mayfair side, much had it changed after Rowan gave birth to Lasher and had all of his powers. The power structure over there in New Orleans didn't really have much affected by Lasher being brought to the corporeal world. But with Ian and everything that we've seen him do thus far, clearly there are some not good intentions here for what the plan is to do with Lasher's power and ultimately with Lasher himself. Ian believes that Rowan and the rest are here to take Lasher back to regain the power to the New Orleans family for the Mayfairs themselves. The facts being laid out in front of Ian aren't going to be enough to sway him. Something more extreme here is going to end up having to happen. But things kept getting a little bit more interesting because Lark, who's kind of exploring the grounds and realizing that this is a bad place for them to be in, because they already knew that Ian was behind everything that was going on and knows that staying with Ian puts them all in danger, Lark finds out that, amongst other things, Ian's family has an actual mask made of Albrecht's face. We're talking Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre here. They skinned Albrecht's face and have made a mask out of it. So these people are psychotic. That was completely unexpected, because sure, folks have been killed in this. In the first season, you know, we had the witch hunting clan going after Rowan and Tessa, and like we've seen all these different kinds of ways people have been hurt and maimed in this show. That was really, really extreme, and it definitely brought the stakes up much higher than they already felt. They are absolutely in an unsafe position. But things didn't end that way. This ended with Lark and Rowan rekindling their romance firmly as the two finally ended up sleeping together. And Rowan, believing she had found an inn through Ian's son Hamish as a way to find Lasher and ultimately get them all out alive, ends up walking into a trap. So that is something that is very much going to play out here in these last two episodes, because it doesn't seem like Ian has much of a use for Rowan, for Cortland, for Moira at all, and that this might just be a case of he wants to keep an eye on them and keep them in chains, keep them under his thumb, so they don't have any chance of stopping any of what's going on. We don't know for sure yet, but I doubt very much that Rowan and Cortland like factor in to Ian's plans for what's going to ultimately end up happening here with Lasher. Now, with that, Lasher gets to spend some time with Ian's family, and he finds out that ultimately the reason why he is in Scotland, the reason why he's with Ian, is that Ian and his family are looking to repopulate the race of the Taltos. Now, they've been talked about bits and pieces here over the course of this season. We haven't really been given a lot of information, but what it seems to be is that the Taltos are a group of beings who are bred from two human witches, and this basically allows them to have this great wealth, this great access of power compared to normal witches, to normal humans. But the Taltos are dying out. Lasher is one, and we find out that Ian is in control of the last Taltos female, Mayfair, that is supposed to be Lasher's wife. Now, what we've seen thus far over the course of this season is that Lasher has been going for Mayfair women, but due to his ferocity being a Taltos and, you know, this curse within him, he's been killing every single Mayfair woman that he slept with. And the idea here is that he can only mate with another Taltos woman, and here comes Mayfair. Now, we have to assume that Ian is going to leverage these newly bred Taltos children in order to gain more power for him and his side of the family. But these are details that are very much going to be broken down over these last couple of episodes. We are finally getting some firm answers here on why Lasher is so important and why everybody has been trying to get hands on him. Things are finally becoming clear, and that puts us firmly in the eyesight of the Talamasca. Remember, Sip was being brought to the Netherlands to actually speak to the Talamasca heads to answer for Albrecht's crime, because they believe that he is somehow implicated in everything that Albrecht's been doing. But within seconds, it is proven that Sip obviously was not a part of Albrecht's plans. And not only that, he is given an opportunity to help run the Talamasca organization. Now, something like that would give Sip so much oversight, not just in his own life and with his family, but also with Rowan and with Lasher and the rest of the Mayfairs as well too. And Sip's not necessarily an idiot, which is why he leverages taking Albrecht's old position of head of the New Orleans branch in order to accept this position in the first place. So Sip very much has got an idea of who the players are and is trying to leverage that information to protect himself and his friends as well too. Now, Talamasca clearly haven't accepted, because this was likely an offer made to also keep Sip under their thumbs much, much longer and still keep control of the situation that's growing with Rowan, Lasher, Ian, Cortland, and the rest. So we don't know how the Talamasca are necessarily going to play this out, because if the idea was that they were going to take Lasher and lock him away and basically keep the power from both Ian's family and the Mayfairs, then I have to imagine that might still be the plan at hand, and that they're expecting Sip to take charge of maybe another operation that gets Lasher back to the Talamasca. Who knows? But y'all, this is the most information we've been giving on Lasher and the intentions behind holding on to him since this show has started. It's nice to finally have the blinders off and be able to give some firm information on what exactly is going on here. Now, I have to imagine in these last two episodes, we're going to find out a little bit more about specifically what Ian is planning to do with the Taltos, and this is going to end up having Rowan step in and needing to make a stop to that. But who knows? Because we haven't seen that Rowan is fully empowered yet, but being back at Ian's home when she attempted to kill him at one point, we found out that Ian has bonded himself and his other family members to his young daughter, Bonnie, so that if anybody tries to harm Ian or anybody else in the family, Bonnie is the one who ends up being the recipient of that pain, as Rowan was trying to kill Ian and had to stop before she ended up killing Bonnie. So who knows where the power transference is going to come from as we wrap this season up, but things have just gotten incredibly spicy here in the world of Mayfair Witches, and I am so curious where y'all ultimately think that this is going. Is Rowan going to let this wedding happen? Is she going to have to put a stop to it? Let me know in the comment section. I am curious about y'all's thoughts on this here. But I want you to stay tuned and make sure to get subscribed because we still got 2 more episodes left to cover here on this. We got the season finale of Dexter Original Sin. We're jumping back into Penny Dreadful. We got coverage on films like Elevation. We're jumping back into Scream, The Howling. I don't want y'all to miss any of that. So the best way to get subscribed is to get subscribed to my link tree at linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings through the year, my TikTok page for full episodes, movie news, movie premieres, my Twitch page for horror gaming, and my Fangoria shop page for a 20% discount off anything at the Fangoria shop. Don't miss out on any of that, folks. Hit that subscribe button because I got more great reviews coming out your way, along with some great opinion pieces coming for y'all as well, too. St. Patty's Day is coming up, so we are absolutely going to get some Leprechaun in here for y'all as well. Don't want you to miss any of that. But that is it tonight, folks. I appreciate you tuning in again. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.